Hey, by the way, one more thing I'll show you in this video. I got my next log ready to rock. Got the bark peeled off of my 1-day soon-to-be shelf. And I've got my 6x8 on the ground, 6x8 on the ground. Um, I'll call myself very fortunate now because I do have a tractor now that I can use to lift the logs up if I need to. When I started doing this, more or less 20 years ago, all I had was a 350 Honda four-wheeler, and I would drag the logs, which of course when you're dragging them, you're just dragging them through gravel, dirt, getting more dirt on them, which is not good for wood when you go to cut it later. But sometimes I would get in a position where I needed a log and I couldn't drag it. So I would go the old school route, and I would basically just do something like this. I would take pieces of PVC pipe, and now I did this with some massive logs. I had one, my neighbor across the road had a hemlock tree come down. It was about 100 feet tall, and it was just ridiculously big. It's in a creek bed. It's like a prehistoric tree almost. So that thing produced, like, when I cut it, it wouldn't even fit on my mill. So I had to cut slabs off the side with the chainsaw, and then I got a full 18 by 18 by 12 foot cant. And oh my gosh, it was gorgeous, but it was too big for me to move. But I was able to do something like this. I could just roll it up, and at this point, kind of slide it around a little bit, and I'll show you where I'm going to take this baby here in just a second. And at this point, you could start rolling it along. And you can do this with 1 foot even. And what you do is just get it to a certain point. When this one's about ready to come out, my camera moved around, and then you simply reposition PVC, and you can take this log wherever you want with really hardly any effort at all. I kicked that one a little bit too hard, but that's okay. I'm gonna fight gravity here. And you just keep rolling. Now, is this efficient? No, it is not terribly efficient. However, it is pretty easy. And back before I had resources, you do whatever you got to do. Hopefully this is there within view of the camera. Let me readjust here just in case. So what I'm going to do is start another stack right here. Like I mentioned, I don't really need to do that right now since I do have a tractor, but I wanted to show you how you can move pretty large. I don't know how much that weighs, several hundred pounds, a couple hundred pounds, probably about 300, I'm guessing. And I'm going to end up stacking them right over here, letting them dry. Forgot that I do have some logs cut. I cut these actually a couple years ago. When was it? Not this past winter, the winter before. We had some really ridiculously strong winds, and it did knock my pine trees over, but it kind of derooted them, so they were going to come down. And I went ahead and took them down. Hey, there's a little buddy there. So these have been drying for 2 years this winter. Those are yellow pine, and they'll go into my cabin as well. You see behind my shed here the pine trees that I've had, and when I bought this property, those pine trees were everywhere, included, behind in the back of my property. Got some smaller ones growing here. Those are actually in a bad spot on the bank, so they'll come down. But anyway, jibber jabber now. That's how it's done. Kind of old school, very fulfilling, really enjoyable. Hard work, but very enjoyable, very satisfying, we'll say. So once again, that's all I got, and I'll talk to you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe.